Okay, we should be live. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Uh, you're waiting for the hardcover. Yeah, the hardcover will be done. I haven't made one yet, so I'm waiting for it to come in the mail to make sure that I don't have to change anything. Once that's done, it should be. I think it'll be fine. But once it comes in the mail, they're called like a proof. You get a proof, and then I'll, determine whether or not it's good enough. And it'll be done next week, the hardcover. Thank you guys for the support. But yeah, I just wanted to go live for a little bit. I plan on going on for like an hour and a half, hour. Yeah. Today's my birthday. Wish me happy birthday. Yeah, I hope you guys like the book. It's a lot longer than the first one, right? The first one's more. Well, so I kind of view it like you kind of have to create a body of work if you're going to create a body of work, and you kind of want to start with a foundation. And that's kind of what the first one's not. Like the first one's kind of just like a summary, I guess, of Neville's work. This one's more about the nuances, and there's a lot more personality in this one's more me, just being honest. The first one's more like, yeah, just foundational, kind of how I see it. The next one's more, yeah, because if you can't fit everything, because like I want to write a different book that's totally different than this. I want to write one that has to do with visions that really doesn't have to do with this, but you can't fit it all in. Yeah, I'm gonna give people a few minutes to show up, as always. First time here. Is this a book plug Q&A only? No, you can ask whatever. No, I mean I just figured why not promote my book that I just made. But yeah, you can ask anything. It's really just, yeah, it's just whatever you guys want to talk about. I know that there's always questions. A late joke kick. I don't know how to say your name. Send me can you send me an email of the ones that you're finding? I'd like to see them. I'm just giving people a few more minutes to show up. I put it on Twitter, so. Because I can always update it if there's like serious errors. Yeah, Kindle. So for India, it doesn't, Amazon doesn't, I don't know why, but it just doesn't, I think they didn't partner with them anymore. So you guys only get a Kindle version. Can you record more meditations? Yeah, I can record another one. I might do an extension of the I Am the Creator one, which is like the one most people listen to. I might do like I got asked so many times to do like a longer version. I never did. So I'm probably going to do like a 30-minute one of that one. Nothing too serious, still understandable. Yeah, okay, as long as it's not like just like an obvious, like I completely messed up a sentence or something, or there's like a few words missing. As long as it's understandable. I didn't do a lot of editing as far as like, I had a few people look over the first one that just were like people who messaged me and they wanted to help me out. This one I did it all on my own, so I'm assuming, that's why I was saying, if you guys find errors, I guess email me them. Obviously, I'm going to get like hundreds of emails, but, I tried my best. Do you sometimes have questions that you feel like you cannot put into words? As far as with this work, yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel that I don't know how to express it. It happened to me yesterday. Sometimes I'll feel something and then I won't know how to express it. And then it takes me like maybe about like a half hour to figure out what I was feeling. And usually it's very layered, and that's why I don't see it. You had this bewilderment technique. Do you still use that? No, I don't really do techniques like that. Okay, let me see if I can reframe the point of obviously when I first started studying Neville, you kind of try out different things, right? You try out like a few, like, let me try this, let me try that. What I found was that the most important thing when it comes to Neville's work is you have to feel the reality of what you're imagining. And these there's such a limitation on words, because even the word imagination, just like the word God, has a lot to it, to where when someone hears it, it's like the word Jesus Christ. You hear Jesus Christ and there's something that comes to mind. These things that come to mind, it's frustrating because you have to sort of break these walls down. But when it comes to techniques, really the main point is to feel the reality of the thing imagined. And another way of saying that, because when you say imagine, it sounds like fantasy, it sounds fake. And that's not really what I'm trying to say. It's like if you want to hear, let's say you want to hear good news for a friend, you need to actually try to hear them as you would hear them in this world, in this, I guess, surface world, the way your ears would hear them, the way your organs hear them. You want to mimic that on the inside when you imagine things. You want to feel it to be real. However you do that, that's up to you. But that is the point. That's why Neville says the feeling of the reality. So for Neville, it was a lot of sensory vividness. He tried to make things vivid to him. That might not be what you do. I know one of his students was more, they would listen and they would try to hear it clearly. I do both. Sometimes I have no visual, but I know what I want to hear, and I will hear that. So it's about feeling the reality of the thing imagined, which is very similar to what was said in Hebrews. If you ever read the book of Hebrews, that faith is the assurance of things hoped for. But you can say that assurance of the things imagined. Yeah, a few words missing or repeated words. Really? Okay, you said the second chapter? Let me take a look at it. Now you got... Well, I'll do this in a second. I don't want to... Okay, I'll do this later. Now you got me looking at it. Is 300 pages the new book? Yeah, it's a lot longer. But again, it's the first series, but I expanded it, changed a couple words up. Well, I did more than that. I kind of updated the language as how I would say it now. Usually when someone said, what's your take on failure? Failure usually comes from a failure in changing oneself. If you can always remember it's a change in self, not in a change in the world or a change in somebody else. Okay, if you think of God's name as I am, what is that? It's an awareness of being. Not any type of awareness, it's a present awareness of being. So it's not he is or she is, it's not changing them, it's changing what I'm aware of being. That's what I need to change. And how do I best change that? Through self-persuasion. Because that's really what happens, is that we are persuaded to believe a certain way about ourselves. And so you have to persuade yourself. What's the best way of persuasion? Is feeling the reality. Now for Neville, again, he was feeling the vividness of it all. And that's how he would feel the reality. Sometimes I will hear something in my head, like I'll have a friend, I'll mimic their voice in my head. I know I'm the one dictating it all, but I will feel like it's happening to me. I will feel like they're telling me that. I'll almost let go of, like you forget your hand is behind the puppet type of thing. And you believe in the reality of the puppet. It's kind of what it's like. Hey, man, La Joke. I'm just gonna call you La Joke. What? Can you send me the sentence? Because I'm looking at it. I don't see exactly what you're saying. Is it the way it's formatted, or are there actual words missing? Maybe I'm not seeing it. So like someone once told me they wanted to they wanted to get larger things in life, like whatever it was, they wanted more of whatever thing they wanted. They wanted more of it, whether it was money or whatever it was. They wanted more of it. And what I was trying to point them to is that they have to make themselves more. We have to become the things we want. And like an example that Neville gave was like, if you want friends, you have to become one. Whether to yourself or you just start feeling that you are one. I mean, that's how you become aware of being the thing you want to be. And you're going to have doubts. It's no question. But can you just for a moment like touch the reality of something within you? Don't go to some outside God or some person to give it to you, or like a holy person, whatever we call holy, and see if you can give yourself that type of awareness. What if you're completely burnt out? Then you might be seeing this more as like that. Okay, this shouldn't be something that stresses you out. It's the opposite. It's when Neville said, when I'm most aware of my pressures, that's when I release whatever it is that's holding me down, and I assume that I'm what I want to be. It's always a release. It's not really a stressor. It shouldn't be something you're working really hard at. You should be feeling the reality of already being the thing. It should be something actually very freeing. So there's a lot of messages. Give me 1 second. Let me just read a couple. Do we need to believe our desire? How important is belief? Well, I guess the way is how you frame the word belief. I mean, for me, I don't sit down and try to believe that I'm talking in front of a mic right now. I don't sit down and try to believe that there's a computer in front of me or that I'm on the live stream right now. I'm not trying to believe it, right? I'm experiencing the reality of it. You see the difference? It's not like belief is for like the religious. Like they want to believe in a God. They want to do those things. But what you want to do is you want to feel the reality of what you're imagining. So like belief and feeling the reality to me are almost synonymous. You don't really need convincing if you're feeling something to be real. So you just take a small example as Neville gave, which was, take a tennis ball. I'm sure everybody has an idea of what a tennis ball is, right? But can you place one in your hand? Can you feel the rubber, that runs around it? And there's a certain point where the two rubber pieces meet, right? And it creates like a little ridge. You can run your finger across your thumb, across it, maybe your thumbnail. You can feel its fuzziness. You can see its color. You can maybe bounce it and it'll come back. You can hear its bounce. You want to feel the reality of it. It's kind of hard to not be persuaded when you feel the reality. So if you want to feel yourself to be something, and as Neville said, you bring into your mind's eye some people that you know personally, who would see you the way you would like to be seen. Now, this is where it gets interesting. He says that if somebody would be proud of you being who you want to be, then see their praise, feel that praise. If they would be envious, if you kind of know somebody would be envious, then see their envy. It both implies that you changed. It's about a change in self, not about like controlling people's envy or their reaction. You want to feel it to be real. What if you can't let go after visualization and you still think about that desire? Well, it depends on how you think about it. So it's not so much about not thinking about what you want. It's thinking from what you want, right? So there's a difference there. It's like let's use the example of Neville going to Barbados. When he was going to Barbados, every time Abdullah thought about him in Barbados, he thought of him from already being there. It's not like Abdullah probably, after he, told him you're already in Barbados, it's not like he walked around all day long and was like, Neville's in Barbados. It's not what he's doing. It's just that when he does think of Neville, Neville's in Barbados. And if he doesn't see it, then he adjusts it. So it's like when you do think of it, are you thinking from that position of already having it or being it? Or are you still thinking about it? There's a huge difference. One's like looking at a pair of glasses. The other is like putting the glasses on. Do you remember the moment you finally understood the law, and why did it happen exactly then? Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't even say I fully understand it. I mean, I understand it to a degree. It's not really something you understand like that. It's not an understanding like a knowledge. It's something you have to practice. You learn by practicing it, by trying to feel the reality of things the best way you can. I wouldn't say it's like what Neville said. Can you change yourself so much to where even your inner circle wouldn't even recognize you? Like you've changed. That's the practice. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying it's the idea of changing from the inside out. So it's not really something you understand and then it's like some knowledge thing that you gained. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like something you take a test on and like you see if you know it or not. I don't want to see anyone as envious. Why would I want that around me? If I'm in perfect harmony with my outer reality. I mean, are you in perfect harmony? There's people who are going to be jealous of what you have, and that's a part of it. It's part of the drama. You don't eradicate envy because you are who you want to be. That doesn't make sense. You don't have to necessarily, you don't have to be around it, but people are going to be envious. I mean, that's just it's a part of it. Just like people, like how would you have praise? What if you're numb to imagining scenarios? Then that's not really what you want to imagine. What do you want to imagine? Like, what do you really want to do inside? What do you really want to be inside? If you could. Do you really want to repeat the same thing over and over again and be numb to it? Probably not, right? Did Neville say that he imagined something often, he wants it, or he just felt it once and he left it? He said he would feel it once. He would feel the reality, or to when he would. So from what I've gathered from what he would do is that he would imagine something and he would continue imagining it, even if maybe it took 5 minutes to 10 minutes or whatever, maybe it took a few seconds, until he felt the reality of it, until he was convinced of its reality. Maybe it was to, give him sensory vividness, right? And until he was persuaded, that's when he would leave it. He would let it go. And I've noticed that works better. But that's not to say you have to follow that. Look, like if you look at Neville's books, a lot of people would repeat the same thing over and over again at night. I didn't really like doing that. I didn't really see things happen that way. It was more about it's like imagining something and letting go to feel its reality and then letting go after. It's like a complete letting go. Rather than sort of this, I need to repeat. Because to me, I don't see much of a difference between looping a scene and repeating an affirmation robotically. I don't really see the difference. They're kind of the same thing, just in different mediums, you know? It's like painting on a computer versus painting with actual paint and a brush, you know? What if you don't truly know what I want? What if my wants change day to day and contradict each other? Well, then you're in a dilemma. But you have to think about it from think of it in terms of the self. Like, what do you want to be for you? Not necessarily what job you want to have, like a way of being. How do you want to be? I'm sure you want to feel intelligent. I'm sure you want to feel, inspired. I'm sure you want to be somebody who is feeling capable. These are things you can feel regardless of any external source. And then maybe you can develop it into what you want to actually do. Regardless, you have to imagine yourself already being that. But how do you get to the feeling of naturalness without imagining that you are saying you can attain that feeling without imagining every day? Well, for me, naturalness comes from feeling its reality. Like, it's natural for me to experience the world as if it's happening to me, right? That's how it feels. Right? Like, dreams let's say you fell asleep tonight. The dream feels natural, not because you're repeating the dream, but because it feels like it's happening to you. It's not until you become aware and awake that that you're the dreamer and you're dreaming it all, that like the dream doesn't feel real anymore. You feel real, right? So you kind of have to lose yourself in the dream. Like, it's about imagining it and feeling it natural in imagination while you're doing it. It's about feeling its independence from you while you're doing it. Can you mimic independence in your mind? That's how I found it to feel natural and real. Why does it feel difficult to yield inside? I don't know. Because it's scary. It's a scary thing to do. I mean, Neville said man's afraid, so he doesn't ever yield. Yeah, it's a frightening thing because you worry as if, if you don't hold on and you let go and you trust it, you're worried that if nothing happens, you've broke your own trust. I haven't seen that to be the case, though. I feel like you do become what you want when you do yield. It becomes less and less scary every time you do it. Can't stay for long, but love the art on the left. Oh, yeah, I want to kind of explain the cover in a second, but what are the beliefs that in the past burden your progress the most during your journey? Probably concepts of deserving, feeling that if you ever try to figure out if you deserve something, you would realize you can't figure it out. And if you can't really figure out if someone else does either, it's really hard to figure out this idea of deserving. And you kind of have to just scrap it because there's not much you can figure out with that. And I think that was something that really, I'm not talking physically. I'm talking about mentally in the mind. If you think of your mind as another realm, the same way this physical world's a realm, in that realm, the idea of deserving doesn't make sense. The idea of effort doesn't make sense. The idea of arguing with somebody doesn't fully make sense, because if you fell asleep tonight in a dream, and let's say you broke your moral code in a dream, right? When you wake up, let's say you broke your moral code, you did something wrong, right, in the dream to somebody else. Then you wake up. And let's say you feel, gross about what you did, or you feel, whatever, you feel wrong. But when you really think about it, who did you really break your own moral code to? Everyone in that dream was an aspect of you. It has to be a part of the dreamer. So you really broke it towards yourself. That's really where you feel shame. So it's really done to self. And when you live a life trying to think you have to deserve stuff inside, it's almost like you're playing you play both roles inside. You kind of like slap your hand when you're trying to grab the cupcake inside your own mind. And you're doing this all, but you don't see it. It's not until you come back to seeing that you're the dreamer and that you're the self, that you're everyone inside yourself, that you don't have to really do anything you don't want to do. That's when you start to find peace again. Rapid fire questions. I know, I feel like I'm on the hot seat. No, but that's a good question. I like that question. It's like what beliefs were really difficult. I would say it's more the concept of deserving. So you kind of have to, the way you can practice removing the concept of deserving is take someone you love, someone you care for, imagine good things for them. Don't worry about them coming true. Just start imagining good things for them. Feel the reality of imagining something good for them. Hear them say wonderful things about themselves. And you'll notice you won't question if they deserve it or not. You're not wondering if they need to do 100 push-ups before. You just kind of do it. And then you can take that same type of action and apply it to yourself. Because really what you're doing it to you're doing it to yourself when you do it inside anyways. And then you can start applying it to yourself. What do you contemplate on these days after having such profound understanding already? I'm pretty obsessed with the promise of Neville, what he talked about. The idea of being born out of imagination, not just the flesh. And I would say that right now, probably the thing that gets me the most is the concept of there's nothing new under the sun. That's been on my mind for a while now. One of the best examples I'd gave was feeling of loving someone. You don't say you're going to love someone 3 times today. It's just something you know and naturally embody. Likewise with your imaginings. Yeah, you want to learn to love what you're doing inside, love what you're imagining, not stress yourself out with it, right? That's how you use this tool of the imagination as if it's like a violin. You use it wisely and you create harmonious strokes with it when you imagine what you love. Not like, I don't mean love in the sense of like forgiving someone you hate. That's not really what I mean. I mean like, it can be as simple as you imagine a color that you love to some elaborate thing that you love. It can be complex or simple. The degree in which you imagine between those two doesn't really matter. It's about whether or not you love it. You might have an idea of yourself that you love. Just imagine it. You'll start to embody it quicker. Why isn't anybody ever addressed the part, well, why you're not worrying about anything anymore, but you haven't completed and understand still bored as hell, peace is legit boring. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Are there any artists you listen to that use the concept of Neville? No, I don't know anybody specifically, but you see it sprinkled in movies all the time. Sorry, I just had a burp. Yeah, you see it sprinkled everywhere. You'll see it in Vanilla Sky. You'll see it. Vanilla Sky is a great example of that. It's just really ironic that the character is also named David. But no, I don't know any specific person who follows Neville's work and then also does that, like creates art from it. I don't know anybody. No, I mean there might be. I would assume there might be. I think Neville for a lot of people is more like like an inspiration, like someone they like, but then they also have a lot of other people they like. For me, I just happen to really like Neville's work the most. And so I didn't try to set out to prove Neville wrong or to prove him right. I just wanted to understand I wanted to understand him. Do you read Jung? I don't. I mean, I have never read his books, but I've read his visions. I've read him talk about his visions. I've been interested in his visions mainly. I think I agree with him on a few things without really knowing. I don't know if he says this, but it seems like he also understands, or at least agrees with the idea that, yeah, when you enter your mind, you are you're experiencing yourself, right? There's no way around it. You can try to find a way around it, but there's just no way around it. And so when you have an argument with somebody, you're not really arguing with them. They're an aspect of you that you're arguing with. Or else, how else would they have the words in their mouth if you didn't put them there? Do you have any favorite Neville Goddard YouTube channels? No, I don't listen to this kind of stuff online. I don't know why. It's never interested me. I prefer to talk about it and write about it than... Sorry, I'm trying to find... There's a lot going on. I think I have it on... I want to make sure that the chat isn't on like a slow thing. It shouldn't be. No, it shouldn't be. Oh, the promise. I could be wrong, but I think there was a point where Neville said that he had fulfilled all his desires, and then the hunger for the word of God came. Are you at that point already? I mean, I don't know if he fulfilled every desire. I don't know if that was what he said. He did say that there's going to come a certain point that you're going to desire God. Yeah. And you kind of can think of it like, yeah, there has to be, I guess for some people, it's not that you have to reach every single thing. You have to have every single car in the world to like, desire God. But to desire God is not necessary to desire, like in a religious way. It's to desire an experience. You want an experience of God. You no longer want just an idea or just this belief or just another object. There comes a point where you want something more that this world has to offer. And that's a good thing. Chat isn't on slow mode. I mean, it's pretty slow. It seems like it's fine for me. Are there anything you've mentioned in your previous videos that you grew to disagree with now? I'm not the best at remembering exactly what I said in my videos because I don't write anything down. Anything I disagree with? Maybe not my videos, but early when I used to write on Reddit, I was bigger on repeating scenes. And then over time, I started realizing that that's not the most important part. The most important part is by feeling the reality. I think because you get exhausted if you're just trying to repeat a thing over and over. I mean, to me, it's so intellectually boring, or I should say mentally stimulating. It's just like, what? I can't do that. But if you have the goal, if the goal is always to feel it real, and how do I know I felt it real? Here's how I know for myself. I have some physical reaction to it, almost like a slight smile comes across my face. Maybe a big smile. Something happens so naturally, I can't explain it. Like just the same way if you bit into a lemon, right? Like and mentally, you can kind of feel it in your mouth. That's kind of how I know if I'm feeling something real. You can take that same idea and multiply it to something more complex and abstract, like a conversation. And we already kind of do this when we argue with somebody. We kind of already feel it to be real, and then we fester upon it. Like I saw a guy the other day at the grocery store, and he was murmuring under his breath. And I wondered what he was saying. He could just be saying that he needs sugar or something. But I got more curious and wondered about what he's thinking. You know, he's saying something that no one can hear but him. I could see his mouth moving, but he wasn't saying much out loud. And I wondered if he was having a conversation with somebody. He felt it really enough to move his mouth to almost respond to it. You know, could it be that he's just, thinking about something not important? I mean, yeah, it could, but it's important enough for him to give it attention. And I wondered what he found important enough inside himself to give attention to. Obviously, I will never know, but, you wonder what people are doing inside. That was a strange answer to the disagreement. Do I disagree with any? Yeah, I don't agree fully with trying to obey techniques, or even Freedom Barry, who was a student of Neville, gave a technique, almost, I think it was 7 steps in one of his books. And he even said that this is just something you should branch off of. It's not really, it's more of a foundation than anything. It's not really meant to be something more than that. These should, even the book I just wrote, this series right here, it should just be a foundation. It's really the way I wrote the book is not to be read like a book. I don't think you should read this like a novel. Maybe you should read it all the way through once, sure. But it really should be read like a companion where you open it and find something. I like to read books that way. Do you believe in subconscious blocks that makes it more difficult for people to yield in specific areas? I think people can have can have issues with yielding in certain areas. I don't call them subconscious blocks because it usually comes down to fear. It's always a type of fear. I don't like the term subconscious. I don't really like the idea of it. It seems strange when people say you have to impress the subconscious for it to externalize. How did you even come to that? How do you know? How did you know you impressed it? You don't really know. And so you do have to live on trust. It comes back to faith again. Or they'll say things like you have to have 51% faith. And it's how did you get that number? How do you know these things? What you know is what you trust fully into. That's what you know. So you have to trust that you are the thing you want to be fully. You give your own trust to yourself. You commune with yourself. You don't try to impress the subconscious. You impress yourself. I understand the idea of the subconscious. I understand why this would be a thing because people can behave in ways they're unaware of. I understand that. But if you can just focus back on the self, things clear up a bit more than this mysterious being called the subconscious that you must impress within you, and you have to sort of, I don't know, hope that it hears you. When it's you're listening, it's you who's listening to yourself. The only thing you need to trust in is yourself, not some God or some leader. Is there a phrase that helps you take the leap inside to yield? A phrase? I wouldn't say there's a phrase. It's a feeling. It's okay, it's like this. I think I explained this in one of the videos. What does it mean to yield to the wish fulfilled? I think it's that video. It's kind of like you go to let go. Let's say you imagine something and you want to accept it fully. Like Neville says, not the emotion, it's the acceptance of it being done. But you're afraid and you think about what ifs, whatever what if comes to mind. But it's going to be a what if, right? It's in that moment when it's more of a feeling when I feel that pressure. Right when I feel that pressure, I know exactly I know exactly what to do. I must let go. So it's more about it. The pressure is like a signal to me to let go, not to be afraid, but to let go. It used to scare me. But then you start noticing the more and more you let go, the more you start to embody the thing you wanted to be. And then you realize that's the answer. It's not to resist. It's just to start accepting. But so I don't have like necessarily, it's not a phrase, but it's like an internal, you kind of notice it inside. It's like you notice the feeling of pressure. I used to fight with it inside myself, but then you kind of realize you're only fighting you. And then fighting implies, again, multiple powers, but there is no multiple powers at play inside, as we just addressed. If you had a dream tonight and you saw 100 people, there's not really 100 people. Even if you interact with each one individually, it's not like there wasn't 100 individual people. Because how else do they have words if they're not dependent upon you, right? And then you wake up in your bed and you realize you interacted with 100 people in your head. But it felt real. It felt like they were talking to you. It felt independent. And so you thought it was real. And so a dream really, to the dreamer, is a facet in reality, a room that the dreamer is convinced is the only reality. And that's why they experience it that way. But it's not really true because they wake up into a different reality. So I have to imagine myself who I want to be and let go of that imagination daily. It's more about your feeling of who you are. Remember, Neville said, change the feeling of I, the feeling of I. How do I feel about myself? Not necessarily how I can change how I think tomorrow. I can change this, but can I sustain a certain feeling about myself? How do you remain loyal to your new self when you want to change? By remembering why you wanted to leave the old in the beginning. Why do you even want to leave? The truth is, and I put this in the book, and Neville said this before, and not in this book, I put in the first one. We have a secret affection with, let's call it the old man. There's a reason, like, it's hard for us to admit that we love things that we're not supposed to love. We love a part of us that we actually want to change. But we do love it to a degree. We do. We kind of love feeling small and like a worm. There's a part of us that kind of loves it, or else it wouldn't be so hard to give it up, right? It wouldn't be hard for, like, the moment you taste something bad, you kind of spit it out of your mouth, right? But we don't do that really with ideas of ourselves. We don't spit it out. We kind of like it. So Neville says you can't have a secret affection with what you don't want to be. You can't. You cannot have a secret affection for it. And if you think closely, you might have that secret affection. You might actually love to be if it's really hard to move into a new position inside, it could be because you love the old one. So how do you commit? You said, how do I remain loyal? Well, you can only remain loyal to what you love. So it looks like the only answer is you're going to have to love a new self. You're going to have to love being a new way. You're going to have to love it. It always comes back to love. I have a chapter in the book called Love What You Imagine. And that's the point. Is like you have to start loving a new idea if you really want to change. That's how you stay loyal. You can't commit to what you hate. It's going to be really hard. I mean, you can try if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. What do you do in the middle when the opposite shows up daily? Well, that's the question. What do you do? I mean, like, if it's persistence, what am I persisting in? Right? Am I persisting in imagining something over and over again? No, I'm persisting in the new idea of myself. So if I assume to be wanted and tomorrow someone comes and tells me you're unwanted, what do? Do I submit and just bow and say, okay, that's what I'm going to be for the rest of my life is unwanted? What do? Or do I go back to internally being what I want to be? Do I live from internal conviction? Or am I like, I don't know, like a dog who just kind of gets led by a new idea, just whatever someone says, I just go and believe them. I don't know if that's a dog. What would that be? I can't think of like an animal. But it's like, are you just going to be like, whatever someone decides, that's what you're going to do? So loving the new state is actually staying there no matter what. Um, I would say learn to love the new state. I don't know if I would see it as like you gotta stay, you gotta stay there. It sounds kind of aggressive. Like, I'm sure you want to be a bit more free than what you are, right? Internally. So can you love freedom? Like love a freer version of yourself? Could you love that? I'm sure you could, right? But to word it like you got to stay in freedom, that sounds like a rule. That sounds harsh. I wouldn't word it that way. Peace and love. Thank you, Edward. Your content brings me short and long-term joy. Thank you for being you and for being here. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think what we struggle with the most is what is the cost of feeling content? Contentment feels so conditional. It's so hard not to imagine bad things that'll happen after. How do I get rid of this? Yeah, you're going to have to. So this is what I was trying to say is that, so how do we become unconditional? And like in the book, I call it reasonless imaginal acts. Without a reason, you just you don't have to have a reason to imagine something. I don't know. That's the truth, guys. I know in school you're taught you can't even go take a pee without asking for permission. I understand in Caesar's world you have to ask for permission. But in this world, in the inner world, you don't have to. There's because then you're just making somebody up who's an authority, and then you're like, hey, can I pee in my mind? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I guess I won't. That makes no sense, right? Because you're telling them to say no. You're doing it all. So how do I become unconditional and reasonless? The best way is to do it for other people, is to imagine other people having things without condition. That's how you start. That's how at least I think you should start. Imagine someone having more money around you for no reason. Don't give it a reason. Imagine someone doing success, like having more success in their life without any condition. Then what do I do? So I just see them expressing success. I just see them that way. And let's say I forget about thinking about them for a little bit. 2 days go by and they pop up in my mind again. When they pop up, am I going back to seeing them expressing success as a present tense thing? Or am I going, yeah, I wish they would be successful, but it didn't happen yet, Edward, you're hilarious, just like Neville. Yeah, Neville was pretty funny. He did say some funny things. I mean, it's always funnier when someone who's not trying to be funny says something funny, right? The irony is that a serious person should be a bit more comedic, and a comic needs to be a little bit more serious. That's the fear of each other, right? A comedian struggles a lot of times to be serious. That's why they have to always joke around. That's how I was. I struggled with being serious, but I realized that I am very serious. And it took me a while to realize that. I wanted to be more serious. And so I started to feel after that. I loved it. If you have a dream, in that dream, everyone is you pushed out. It has to be. It's not something that I like. It's not something, my emotions are not involved in that understanding. It's just true. It's just true. Even no matter how real the dream feels, the degree in which it feels real doesn't really dictate whether or not it's all you pushed out or not. Right? If you have a nightmare, regardless how scary it is, wouldn't you claim that you dreamt it all? Like, how does that nightmare exist without you, the dreamer? Do you do comedy? No, I don't. No. I mean, I guess I do it sometimes on the members for live stream, but I don't do comedy. No. I'm very disappointed I won't be able to make it to tonight's members stream. However, I'll have a drink with you, Edward, the time you're live. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're a member, later tonight I'm going live. So it's 3:20 now. I'll go live at around 7ish. And I'm just going to have a drink. It's going to be more of a laid back. Right now I'm trying to answer questions because I know that I don't go live publicly often. So I'm just trying to make sure I answer some questions. This one, that's why one of my members said, you kind of having rapid fire questions because it's, this is not typically how the members live streams go, but I really want to make sure I answer some questions. I do. How did you realize the law of assumption actually changed your life and you decided to go to YouTube to share what you learned? I think what happened was that when I was writing and practicing Neville's work, I started to understand the freedom in which he's talking about when it comes to freeing up the inner man. When I started to realize that, I had to share it. I had to. Because I don't know if that's just what happens, but when you start to feel a certain type of freedom and understanding, you kind of just have to share. I think this is just how it is with any subject. How do you manage the state of wisdom? You got to start with a feeling. What's very, very funny is that one feeling I felt after, and I didn't care what people thought. I didn't care if everyone thought I was stupid. I'm going to feel this. I started to feel after feeling brilliant. That was the one thing I wanted to feel. I don't know why, but it just fired me up, and I liked the feeling, and I started to feel brilliant. So I'm just going to feel this for myself, and no one needs to know. And if there's one thing that I've been called from when I started feeling that to now, that is the one thing I've been called the most. And I find that strange because it's the one thing I probably felt the most. I didn't necessarily feel after wisdom, but I felt after, I don't know why, just the word brilliant, I've always liked it. And so I started to, it's not like I really knew what I was doing. I just trusted in what I was doing. I trusted the feeling. When I would think about feeling brilliant, it was something I wanted to feel for myself. And I didn't quite understand what it was, but I trusted it. And I trusted the feeling, and whatever came up, I accepted it. And that's the one thing. If it comes to compliments, I get the most. And I find that, and then you go to change it. What if I felt after something else? Would I get a different compliment? And you do. Your book is apparently not available as paperback in Europe. Really? Yeah, the Amazon has a lot of weird rules. I mean, I have to go through Amazon. I don't have like a publisher. I'm a one guy. Like someone just told me I have problems in my second chapter. I didn't even see them. So yeah, I'm sorry. If I also had to make the book black and white because a lot of people were asking me if I could make it color. But it was going to cost so much money if it was going to be color. I didn't want to make it that expensive. So I went with black and white with cream paper. But yeah, I don't. Maybe it will be available in a little bit. I thought paperback was available in Europe. I'm surprised it's not. It's learning to trust, not in the stars, not in your horoscopes, not in your tarot card readings, not in the psychic readings, not in your palm readings, not in the tea leaves, not in the religions of the world, not in the false idols and the false gods and the false statues, not in those things, but can you trust in your imagination? And I'm asking you to trust in yourself because that's where it's held. Do you have any friends that you know that you're Edward Art? No. No, I don't do this to get famous. I really like this work. I find it stimulating. The last time it took some time for paperback to come available in Europe. Yeah, I think it takes some time. It's not available in North Africa either. Really. I'll have to look into that. I don't, Amazon has its limits now. They used to be, they used to do it in India. Now they don't. The paperback isn't available in Antarctica. It probably isn't. Yeah, I hand deliver everything in Antarctica. I actually go fly there and I give my books over there. Maybe you liked and wanted brilliance because you felt because it was within you and needed to express. Yeah, I mean, there could be reasons why, but why that one attracted me. But you got to find what attracts you. I mean, like what I like to feel after might not be what you like to feel after. Find what it is that you like. It's inside of you. It has to be. It's most likely going to be inside of you just based on logic because the imagination seems to hold more things than the world does. So it's most likely going to be, and the imagination's in you, so it's most likely going to be there. Is it available on Mars? I had to wait months for Kindle version. I'm in Asia. Really? Wow. I wonder what the why there's so much why you have to wait so long over there. How long have I been on for? Let's see. An hour. I might go on for like another half hour. Like I said, I'm gonna go live for the members and later tonight. You got me. That person told me that I had an issue with the first paragraph of the second chapter. It's like I can't get it out of my head now. What if trusting my imagination seems to be the most difficult part? Well, what are you trusting in if it's not your imagination? Tell me what you trust in. What do you trust in? And if you say it could be a couple answers, right? You could say, well, a religion, okay, whatever. But it could be a person, okay, whatever. But let's say you say, I don't know what I trust in. Then why not just trust in your imagination? I mean, like, why not point yourself somewhere? Start somewhere, right? What does life look like when you get the hang of this stuff? It all depends on the individual. I mean, like everyone wants different things. It's not about what it looks like. It's I'm not the best person if you're looking to get like objects. I'm just not going to be the best person to listen to. I don't really care that much. And I don't care too much about what things look like. It's more about what it feels like and who you are. It's like what I said. It's not so much about what you're doing in your imagination because you can imagine all sorts of things. It's more about who you are in there. And you have to ask yourself if you're free in your own mind. Are you free in there? If you're not, then you need to start getting more free and you need to figure out how to get freer. And what you can start doing is start going to what you want and feeling the reality of those things. Where are you from? Your accent and voice is really attractive for the audience. I'm from Earth. Will this live stay on YouTube? Yeah, it's going to stay on YouTube. This one's going to be on YouTube. You mean on the channel? Yeah, it's going to be on the channel. What is worry? I don't know. I guess that what is worry? I guess I kind of view anxiety like the way I worded it. Anxiety is like the inability to feel after new things. It's like a position of being stuck in feelings. Like you're just not allowing yourself to feel new things. And that can cause anxiety. Are you ever going to do a face reveal? Oh, so now we're trying to peel back. There's not a mystery, guys. I promise you, it's not a mystery. It's not. You're not. It's not that. It's not that amazing. We'll keep it the way it is. We'll keep it this way. I love your work, and it does a lot of good for me. It brings an update to Neville's words for the present day, and it also shows challenges that I face when applying the teachings. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't want to. I'm not trying to change Neville's work, or I'm not trying to do anything other than understand it. It's a bit weird to consolidate. Everyone has their dreams and everyone's you pushed out. Okay, the reason why I actually really dislike the term everyone you pushed out, I think it's so overplayed, and I think that it does more harm than good. Because you just have to focus on yourself. Like, don't focus on what someone else is doing. And because, okay, here's why I say that. What typically happens with people is they want to listen to this stuff so they can control other people, and it just doesn't work because it's not about changing anyone else but yourself. It's just not. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying that is typically like my issue with that. Focus on what you're dreaming inside. Focus on what you're doing and who you're being. Become really focused on that rather than what someone else is doing, what you think someone else is doing. Is there ever no thought? Sometimes when I want to meditate, I don't really even focus too much on thoughts. Depends. Like let's say I want to do an imaginal act, like I want to hear something for a friend. Yeah, it's like a thought, but I try to focus on feeling after something. I don't know, something that you want to accept. That's why I like when Neville says you're as free as the wind. That one always hit me hard because I couldn't accept that. I just couldn't. Like, he's like, you're as free as the wind. You're as free as you want to be. And I couldn't accept it at first. I don't know. I had something in me that just said, not really. But then I saw that he's talking about the inner man. And you really are as free as you want to be inside yourself. You really are. You can decide that. And you can fight it all day long, but it's true. It is. How do I manifest a Lamborghini? I'm not the person to ask those questions. I guess imagine, what would you do if you had one? I care more about how someone is rather than what car they drive. Sorry, I'm getting like an issue on my end. It's telling me I'm lagging, which is weird. You know what? It's probably the weather over here. Am I lagging bad? What is the beauty of benefits of breath work in your perspective? I try not to focus on. I do this thing where I don't even try to focus on the body. So, let's say you're meditating. What I notice is that if you like, there's some meditations that will try to get you to focus on like your feet or your hands or like those kinds of things. But I think that I try to actually let go of my body and I don't even identify with it. I notice that when I start to feel after what I want, I feel myself to like, I view myself as the imaginal being in the body and I'm freeing that up. The body follows suit. My breathing gets calmer when I accept certain things about me. No longer, I don't focus on calming the body. I more focus on the self. Sorry if I'm lagging, guys. I don't know if there's much I can do. It's telling me I'm good, so I don't know what's going on. I do have horrible weather where I'm at, so I hope this. Okay, are we back? Can you guys hear me? Are we back? I don't know what just happened. It just got everything canceled out. I have no idea what happened. Okay, I'm gonna stay on for a little bit longer. Maybe like what cut off? I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, it's not working for me right now. I'm just gonna head off. Um, I don't know what's going on. This hasn't happened before. It's weird because everything's fine on my end. Yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm gonna head off. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for the support. I'm just gonna head off. I'll be live hopefully later at around 7 for members. I'll see you guys then. Yeah, just thank you guys for supporting. I didn't get to explain. If you guys are still here, let me see if I can explain this real quick. I wanted the cover of the book. I know it's probably right now on my end. It looks like it's all blurry, but I kind of want to express, I guess, in picture form, just the idea of the front cover represents the surface level of this world where we interact and have conversations, and obviously the people are dressed almost very the same. You could almost think that the person's talking to themselves. This person's in contemplation, sort of imagining a scenario. But the deeper and deeper you go, and that's where the back cover's at. The deeper and deeper you go rise above this sort of binary world of good and evil, and you enter inside yourself. You get more of a mirror image, and you will discover that the light, this sphere of light, is actually within you, and it is you. And so you get sort of a deeper. I wanted to express, I guess, Neville's work through the cover and the back. Sorry if my connection's poor. Yeah, this will be uploaded, by the way. Do you draw all of your artwork? I mean, I draw some of it. Yeah, some of it's AI too. I mean, I don't just do AI art. I mean, I did these a few years ago. I don't make AI art anymore. I was just more testing it out. But I also do my own art, so I don't know what happened. But okay, if you're a part of the members, I'll see you guys later. Hopefully. Hopefully this doesn't happen. But okay. You guys take care. Trying to think if there's anything else I should announce before I go. I don't know. I'm sure you guys will see me on Twitter and stuff. But okay, I'm gonna head out. Take care, guys. This will be uploaded, so you guys can replay this on the regular channel. This will be here. But all right, you guys take care. I'll see the members in a little bit. All right, bye.